welcome back. Happy Saturday. Today is the 9th episode of the bettors Zone, and we are going to do an NBA market rundown as we do always every morning. We have a nice little 8-game slate today that's going to turn into a 7-game slate due to COVID issues. I'm going to get into that in a second. If you have any feedback or comment regarding the show, you can reach me on Twitter at the bettors Zone. Please share any feedback with me. And if you want to tell my plays and read my written analysis on all the games every morning, you can go to patreon.com/thebettorszone and join the Discord channel. So I'm going to put up the odds screen. We will use Sports Insights as always, and we will get right into it. So the first game on the slate is the game that won't play, in my opinion, so we won't really waste too much time on this. The Sixers have 8 players in the COVID protocol. At the moment, the roster has 6 players active, and the NBA requires at least 8 active players for all teams to play the games. So, I mean, this game probably won't play. The players who are in this COVID protocol thing include Embiid and Harris and Seth Curry. I mean, key players. You probably won't be able to handicap this game. If the league wants to force this game to play, you will see something like Denver -8 or 10. But we will steer clear even if this game plays. But I don't think they will go ahead with this game. All right. So first real game on the docket, it's the Washington Wizards hosting the Miami Heat. It's an interesting spot from both sides. The Heat are on extra rest. They are on the road, and the Wizards are playing a third in fourth and the back-to-back as well. Last night they played pretty high minutes, so you have to monitor the players. Last night it was said that Westbrook will probably skip this game. He's officially tagged as questionable, but I'm going to lean towards him sitting this one out. Beal played 38 minutes last night, Hachimura 37, so some players with pretty high usage rates. I would probably still lean towards the Wizards for a couple of reasons. I make this Miami -5, and the game is off the board, but some soft books have lines up, and they hold like a Miami -5.5. I think this line doesn't factor Westbrook sitting in. So I would make this probably around Heat -3.5 if this was an equal rest. Obviously, you have to factor in the back-to-back, the heavy usage for the Wizards players. So anything around 5.5 is okay if Westbrook plays. I think if he sits, this will move to 6.5, even 7. And if we get that line, I will play the Wizards. I'm still not really on the board with the Heat. Just to start with a couple of bad stats around them. They are dead last in the league in turnover rate. 18% of their all possessions gets turned over. That's insanely bad. They are 29th in offensive rebounding. So basically, the two most important stats that as a team, as an offense, you want to take care of: good rebounding and not giving the ball away. They are dead last or second to last in the league in that. And I get it, they played a tough schedule. This should get better down the line, but what I'm seeing so far, I'm not really liking it. And on the other side, the Wizards are pretty decent at forcing turnovers, and they aren't a bad rebounding team. And they are a borderline top 10 defense. I'm shitting a lot on the Wizards. I'm always getting this feedback that I'm always shitting on the Wizards, but I like the team. I just hate Westbrook. But they are a borderline top 10 defense with good turnover rates, good free throw rate, and pretty decent efficiency considering they have Westbrook, who is one of the least efficient players in the league. So yeah, I think the Wizards will be able to score. I don't like that they played such high minutes last night. Um, but I think this will get to Miami minus 6.5. And if it touches 7, I would probably lean towards the Wizards. Hopefully, we will get news in time that Westbrook is sitting, and yeah, we can take advantage of that. So yeah, we don't have a line yet. I think at this current line, what you can get at Softbooks, Heat minus 5.5. That's decent. I'm probably right around there. I think the Westbrook situation will be moving the line to a spot where there is value on the Wizards. And I always said that Westbrook is in the bottom 15 in the whole league when it comes to turnover rate and points per possession. He isn't helping this team. So while the market will downgrade the Wizards, we could probably upgrade them if he is sitting. So that's the handicap here. That's the edge you have to look at. Will the market overreact? We won't know for a few hours, but this is a game to follow through the day. Next game on the docket, Charlotte Hornets hosting the Atlanta Hawks. This is a rematch. The first game of these two was 2 days ago. It was in Atlanta, and the Hawks closed as 6 points favorites, and they lost outright by 8 points. This is kind of some overreaction here, in my opinion. First of all, if you look into that game, that was by far the worst offensive outing of the Hawks this whole season. They faced way better defenses than Charlotte so far, and they've performed way better against them. But against this average Charlotte defense, Young put up 7 points, which is probably close to a career low for him. And the Hawks were putting up 93 points per 100 possessions, and they had a 41% effective field goal percentage. So nothing was going their way, and it's not something that I think we will see again in this game. Some more stuff that pushes me towards Atlanta. They are on extra rest here, so 2 days of rest. I don't think they have a game tomorrow either. Yeah, so they 2 days off before and 1 day off after. The Hornets are in third and fourth, and it's a back-to-back for them. They played last night. Hayward played 38 minutes. Graham 37, Rozier 35. So they played pretty high minutes. It's a back-to-back for them. And if you check, the Hornets have been outperforming their betting spreads by almost like 2 points on average so far this season. So they are a team that's been a bit better than we expected, and the Hawks have been underperforming the spreads by almost like 1 point on average. They are also underperforming their expected record. If we add everything together, and the Hornets are also on a 3-game win streak, they beat 3 teams that, in my opinion, are better than them. So this is a sell high spot for me for the Hornets. They are playing really heavy minutes. They are in over their head. They beat a couple of good teams, and the Hawks have been in the shittiest form they could be the last time these two played. Now home court is worth probably close to 0 now, but I mean you still have to like give at least a point. So that the first game between these two in Atlanta closed at Hawks -6. This is Hawks -4 now. So basically, what we see here is that the rest disparity between these two isn't factored in at all. And I just don't believe in the Hornets. I mean, even after these good games, they are 25th in the league in points per possession, 26th in effective field goal percentage, the 2 most important stats, and they are bottom 5. And I mean, the people are always shitting on Atlanta that they don't play any defense, but if you see, they keep teams to the 13th lowest points per possession and the third lowest effective field goal percentage. So they I mean, they're a borderline top 10 defense facing a bottom 5 offense. And on the other side of the ball, even with their clunker games, they haven't covered the game in a good while. The Hawks are 5th in points per possession. They have the 17th highest effective field goal percentage, the 5th best offensive rebounding, and the 2nd best free throw rate. I think it's a mismatch. I've said it the first time. I'm eating my words, but I think the Hawks will come out and bury the Hornets tonight. Penny is hanging a -4. It's a big juice. This should probably go to 4.5. My numbers make it 5, so it's not a huge edge. But I mean, if you can get like a good 4, I think this is probably a bet you should make. Next game, another interesting one. The Pacers are hosting the Suns. Pacers are 3-point favorites across the board. This opened 2.5. Pacers got bet, and now it's a slightly juiced -3. This may be getting to 3.5, but we will see. It's I think the move is more of a slight overreaction, I would say, of the Phoenix Suns playing last night. They played an overtime game, and their 3 best players played like 37, 38 minutes. So I mean, coming off an overnight game, OT, we travel, it's a pretty bad spot. And the problem is, I'm liking both of these teams. If you check any stat, they are very, very similar to each other in the main stats. I rate both of these defenses as top 8, and the offense is top 10. So these are decent teams, and I like the improvements on both sides. Obviously, the Pacers are more rested here. One thing that I wanna talk about is the 3-point percentage and how it should play out between these two. These are the two teams that shoot the most 3-pointers in the league. I think the Pacers are the first, and the Phoenix is 4th. So yeah, they both have a high 3-point usage rate, and if you check the efficiency, there is a huge gap, and that's what I really want to talk about. The Pacers are 20th in the league when it comes to 3-point percentage, and 27th on the defensive side. So they allow the 3rd highest 3-point percentage. On the other side, the Suns are 10th in 3-point percentage, and on the defensive side, they are 6th. So I mean, this can easily turn into like a 3-point shooting contest, and so far you have to like what you've seen from the Suns. And I like the Pacers. They play solid, great improvements on both sides of the ball. I really like what they are doing. But I mean, the Suns are just a bit better everywhere. Obviously, rest is helping the Pacers here. My line is Pacers -2.5 here. If this gets out to like a 4, I will be probably forced to play the Suns, even if I don't really want to. I mean, they really played high minutes last night, and it's not an ideal spot, but I think they are just a tiny bit better, and 3-point shooting woes and the bad 3-point defense from the Pacers is something that worries me in this matchup. Next game, the Minnesota Timberwolves are hosting the San Antonio Spurs. In this game, the only thing you have to care about if Karl Anthony Towns will play or not. If he is in, this spread is probably around Spurs -2 or 3, something like that. The game is off the board on the big sharp books, but you can see Spurs -6.5 up at a couple of shops. I think Bet365 also has it up. at this moment. I think that's a line to grab with the Timberwolves. To be honest, I think this line indicates that Karl Anthony Towns will sit. I don't think this will go move towards the Spurs more. Maybe it gets to -7, but I would think that's where it will stop. Um, the Timberwolves have lost 6 games in a row since Anthony Towns has been out. They have only covered 1 game. They are the worst team in the league in many stats, most of the offensive and defensive stats since Anthony Towns has been out. But the Spurs, I mean, they have played a difficult schedule, but they are ranking around the 20th in the league on both sides of the ball. So this is a team that has been playing a bit above their head. I mean, they are well coached. We know that Popovich knows how to play basketball, and you can see the team has a decent turnover rate and decent defensive rebounding. Those are very, very important factors that can keep them in the game. They wouldn't be in normally. But it's not a team you want to lay many points with. I like the Spurs as big dogs, getting many points. We've been backing them this season. They are usually cashing in situations where they like get 7 or 8 points, stuff like that, in good spots. But you don't want to lay this many points in this game if Anthony Towns will be back. I mean, if he sits, this is probably a decent line. I would make it like Spurs -6, but I'm okay with like 6.5 and 7. So yeah, if you have a book that has this one up and maybe where you can cash out your bet at 100%, like Bet365, I think you should sit on the 6.5 with the Timberwolves, and you can cash it out if Anthony Towns doesn't play. I mean, this is a back-to-back of the same game, so the same teams will play tomorrow. I think in the worst case, Anthony Towns will be back for the next game, so we will see probably some at least like 20-25 minutes of him, if not today, then tomorrow. So if the Spurs like win big today, we might be able to profit off it even tomorrow. But I think if you have like a Wolves 6.5 ticket, you are flipping a coin at the worst in the worst spot if he's out. But if he's in, you can have solid closing line value. So that's the position I would take if you can grab this game now. Next game, it's another one where I think you can grab a solid position here. It's the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's the Bucks are 15.5 point favorites. 15.5. I think this could be probably the biggest spread this season. I don't think we've seen bigger spread so far. So, I mean, I really like Cleveland here, to be honest. One thing that makes me worried is they aren't really good at stopping the 3-pointer, and the Bucks are not one of the best. They are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. I mean, they shoot the most threes at a great rate, but everything besides that makes me want to bet Cleveland here. So yeah, it's a back-to-back with Milwaukee, but it's a home back-to-back, so they didn't have to travel. And Cleveland had a day off before; they have a day off after. This is the last game I think of their 6-game road trip. So it's not an ideal spot. The two best guys on this Cleveland team have been Sexton and Garland when it comes to offensive efficiency. Garland won't play here, but Sexton, I think he's the more important of the two guys. He is officially questionable, but he was a game time decision the last time out, and he was scratched like a few minutes before the game, so he's very close to returning, and I think he will play. If he plays, I make this Milwaukee-12. If he isn't playing, maybe 13 and a half. 14 max, but if you can get a 15 and a half, I think that's a plus CV bet. The reason I'm saying that, I mean, if you look at this Cleveland defense, it has been pretty amazing so far, and they played it. They didn't play an easy schedule. They allowed the lowest point amount per 100 possession in the league, and if you check points per game, they are the second best, just behind Phoenix. So they allow 103 points per game on average. That's just so low. I mean, even if the Bucks are a great offense, this is a low total. Some books have a total up that's 221. So you cannot lay 15 and a half points in a 221 total, in my opinion, against a team who is barely allowing 100 points per game. Also, Cleveland forces the most turnovers in the whole league. Like 20% of the opponent's possessions gets turned over. They allow the six least free throws against their opponents. They are in borderline top 10 team in rebounding. So, I mean, besides the bad free throw defense percentage, that, I mean, has me a bit worried. I mean, Milwaukee could come out and like just drop the threes and yeah, they go up big and then it's game over. I think the Cavs cover this like 60+% of the time, to be honest. They're just so good defensively, and I'm not sure the Bucks will be. I mean, the Bucks will be at 100%. They might even sit some players. I mean, it's the lowly Cavs. You are on a back-to-back. They have a day off tomorrow, but they play, I think, Orlando the day after. So, yeah, it might not be a full Bucks team. There's a slight shot at that, and if that happens, I mean, this spread is just way too big, in my opinion. So, yeah, Cleveland or bust. I really like them, even if Sexton is out, but I think Sexton will play. You cannot lay this many points with such a low total after playing last night against a good defense, in my opinion. Next game, Dallas Mavericks hosting the Orlando Magic. This one is there is a lot to unpack here. So I'm just going to talk about the Magic first. They had a back-to-back last night. Aaron Gordon was sitting it out, but it was load management, and he will be okay to go. They've lost Markel Fultz due to an ACL tear, so he will be out for the season. They had Fournier questionable. He didn't play last night, but he's questionable for a week. What info I could gather, that he's pretty close to returning, so he could return here. Terrence Ross, their primary backup player, played only 80 minutes last night. So I think everyone played 30 or less minutes. Gordon sat. Fournier could be back. Ross played just 18 minutes. So I think they're in a decent shape, considering they had a back-to-back last night. Everything what I saw last night was showing me that they probably just punted that game. This is a game where maybe they think they have a better shot at winning. So yeah, I think they should be ready. I mean, you have to slightly downgrade them because of the back-to-back and missing Fultz, but I would probably make this Dallas -8 in this spot if everyone was healthy, obviously, on the Mavericks, and with the back-to-back and Fultz out. We have the game is off the board at most books, but we have a -7 at a couple of shops, -7.5, -6.5. So yeah, I think that is probably right if everyone would be playing on the Mavs. But now let's get to the Mavs. So they have been hit with the COVID issue, and they will be without Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Jalen Brunson. And obviously, they still don't have Porzingis back. That's like 3 starters out and your best backup player out. Yeah, I think it's huge, and Mavs will look like shit here, to be honest. If you check, I mean, I knew Brunson was playing well, but I've went and checked into his stats, and he's playing pretty amazingly. He's averaging 122 points per 100 possessions. I mean, that's pretty amazing for a backup who is also dishing out 30% of the team's assists. And if you just compare to Doncic, Doncic is averaging 114 points per 100 possessions. So I mean, Brunson is more efficient than Doncic. He's handling out 30% of the team assists, and he will be out. And obviously, two starters in Dorian Finney-Smith and Josh Richardson will also be out, and Porzingis isn't back yet. So yeah, if we arrive to the fact that like Mavs should be around -8, based on what we've seen from Orlando, the question is how much you downgrade them based on these misses, and I think they should be around 3.5 to 4 point favorites tops. I think even at Orlando +4, it's probably plus CV to bet the Magic here, based on how they handle the minutes. I'm expecting Fournier to come back. Gordon will play. Ross is almost fully rested. So yeah, it's an interesting spot, but I think at the current line, if you have a shop that has this up, Bet365, I know has the Magic up at +6.5. That's a line to grab. I'm 99% sure that this will move towards the Magic. I mean, with this many players missing the game, we've talked about the Magic a lot during these past few days, that the injuries have been rough on them, and they were put in bad positions. But I mean, today they will be the team in the better position. And I respect the Mavs, what they have done without Porzingis. They have played a pretty tough schedule, one of the toughest schedules in the league, but they are still like a top 10 defense and a top 15 offense. And despite the tough schedule played and missing their second best player, but now they're missing 3 starters, the best backup. And I think the Magic know how to exploit teams who are suffering like big and heavy losses. We've seen this. They understand how basketball is played, and you are getting 6.5 to 7 points. I mean, yeah, I like the Magic here. I think this will probably open on Pinnacle around Magic +4, maybe even lower. To be honest, I mean, at 4, I would probably even bet the Magic there. But we could get this down closer to a pick 'em. To be honest, it's a really difficult game to handicap because the other team is missing like 4 of their top 7 players or top 6 players. So yeah, it's not easy. I think this is a great matchup and great spot to be on the Magic, to be honest. Last game of the day. This one is off the board. The Sacramento Kings are hosting the Portland Blazers. The Blazers are 5-point favorites at the shops that have a lineup. I don't really have too much in this game. I make this spread Portland -5.5. So I agree with what we see on the shops that have this up. De'Aaron Fox was questionable yesterday. He played 25 minutes. Beat writers are expecting him to play again today. So my line and these lines around 5, I think these factor in Fox playing. If he's out, this is probably Portland -7, 7.5. The thing is, both offenses should be able to score here. This is the highest total on the board, and rightfully so. The Blazers are like a top 5 to 10 offense, and the Kings are like a league average-ish offense. But defensively, these are both bottom 10 defenses. Portland is like pretty rough. I've been talking about them for a few days now. I don't like laying too many points with them as the defense. They just cannot get any stops. But if you check the Kings, they are 29th in points per possession allowed, 28th in effective field goal percentage allowed, and they are the 7th worst team at forcing turnovers. So these are two shitty defenses. Portland has a slightly better offense. They are obviously rested while the Kings are on the back-to-back. The biggest, really, the Portland offense has a higher edge over the Kings than the Kings offense has over the Blazers defense, but that's about it. Looking at long term, I want to fade the Kings a bit. They've played an easy schedule. They have overperformed. Many metrics are saying that. So yeah, I lean towards Portland here, but no bet for me. Maybe check the Fox News if he's out, and you can get on like a Portland -5 before it moves. I think that's a decent bet. So that's about it for today. As I said, you have to monitor the Wizards Heat game. I think once Westbrook is announced out, you will get a pretty high number with the Wizards that might be worth betting. The Hawks already moved out to a 4.5-point favorite during the show. So yeah, not much value there, to be honest. I would probably look at the Suns if this gets above 4, but my line is Pacers -2.5 in that game. So no action from me there. For the Timberwolves game, you have to check if Karl Anthony Towns is back or not. But I think even if he's out, this won't get to like Spurs 7.5. So if you jump on a 6.5 with the Timberwolves, you are at worst case flipping a coin. But if Anthony Towns plays, you have a great line. I like the Cavs at 15.5. I think any number that's probably up right now would be good enough for me to bet the Cavs. And the Orlando Magic, I think that would be my favorite bet of the day, based on how depleted the Mavericks look today. So that's about it for today. Tomorrow we have a similarly eight game slate or so. A couple of great matchups tomorrow: Heat, Celtics, Lakers, Rockets, Raptors, Warriors. I really look forward to that slate. So I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. If you want to reach out to me, you have my Twitter at the Barrel Zone. If you want to join the Discord channel, you can go to patreon.com/the Barrel Zone. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in as always.